One of the biggest problems that charity has is that people think that it's something that you want to do in secret. I believe that if people were allowed to be proud of donating money, more people would donate money, more people would see other people donate money, more people will feel like, oh, I want to do what they're doing. They're giving away a lot of money. I want to be a part of that.
Great.com will give away 100% of its profits. But so far we haven't had any revenue at all. Still, we are going to make our first big donation. We will give $100,000 to an organization called the Founders Pledge. We're doing this to unify the team. We're doing this to get a publicity push, and we're doing it to support an organization that we truly believe are doing an amazing job to make the planet better. And I am here with the founder of Great.com, Erik Bergman, who before founding Great made 50 million euros before turning 30 when he founded the company Catena Media, a company that went from 0 to 300 employees in just 5 years. And on the side of running Great, he's very passionate about teaching entrepreneurship and personal development to his over 200,000 Instagram followers. Hey Erik, how are you doing today?
Hey Emil, I'm very well, thank you. And I'm here with Emil, as always, the first one joining me in Great about 2 years ago. And he's the host of this podcast, and he's also the host of our other podcast, Great.com Talks With, where he interviews charity organizations. And on the side of Great, he runs a coaching business where he helps men live richer lives. And all in all, he's my creative sparring partner. He's a really smart and in many ways weird dude that I just love learning things together with, creating this podcast for content for Instagram and YouTube. Without him, there would not be much content coming out of me, that's for sure. And what are we doing?
Are you the normal one in this duo?
Compared...
If I'm weird?
Yeah, I'm definitely the normal one.
He's so normal. Now, if you're new here to this podcast, the Becoming Great podcast is for anyone who wants to make the world, or just their own lives too, for that matter, better through entrepreneurship and personal development. And today's episode is about our first big donation that we are very excited about as a team. And we're going to look at today's episode in 3 parts. In the first episode, it's going to be a bit of a backstory for you who are new to Great. We're going to explore how come we are running a company that would give away 100% of its profits. What is the purpose? And what kind of progress have we made so far? An update. Part 2 is we're going to look at how come we're making the donation when we haven't made any revenue yet. Is that really a good idea? Is this going to unify the team and give us the publicity that we're hoping for? And in the third and final part, we are going to look at Founders Pledge, the organization that we have chosen to make the donation to. And we're going to explore why we believe they are the best investment we can make to make the world better. Let's dive into part 1. I know Erik as a guy who always wants to do things in a new and different way, whether that is life, his habits, or how to run a business. And the way we are running Great is to give away 100% of the profits. And that to me is a pretty strange way to run a business. How come we're doing this, and where did the idea come from?
Well, I mean, it all goes back to me making more money than I'm ever going to need in my previous business. That put me in a situation where I can do this. So I understand that it's not something most people have the opportunity of doing. And while doing that, I learned that more money for myself doesn't make me happier. But more money that I can give to others does make me happier. So for me, it's quite simple in a way that the world becoming a better place makes me a happier person. So I could argue that I'm doing it for purely selfish reasons, but it's also, the way I wish the world would look. I wish that more people helped others, and this is my way of helping.
This is kind of taking it to the extreme.
Yeah, definitely taking it to the extreme.
You know what I think is really cool about Great? Is that it must be so hard as a founder to have everyone care as much as the business as the founder does.
Yeah.
But giving away 100% of the profits solves a bit of that in a way, because everybody has the same incentive as the founder have, which is to create donations.
Yeah, that's an interesting way to think. I haven't thought about it that way before. But yeah, in the usual business, the founder gets the profits or the investors gets the profits.
Yeah.
And here, no one, and in a sense, everyone gets the profits. It's the same kind of buy-in for everyone as a part of it.
Yeah, and that got to be very challenging to create as a founder.
Yeah.
So what progress have we made so far? What product are we even building for someone that is new to Great?
Okay, so we started 2.5 years ago, and we're building, well, in the long run, we're building a tool that will compare pretty much any different service online and give you a recommendation of what to buy or what to do. And we're starting out with the casino industry because that's where I'm coming from. So we're comparing where would you get the best customer support, which site is the fastest loading, where would you get the best bonuses. And by comparing these things, we get customers for different casinos and we then own a commission.
I see. And how far have we gotten at this point as an update?
That's a less fun question. Well, we're actually not even close to where I would want us to be. We're just going live, and as part of going live, this donation is kind of a part of a celebratory thing relating to that. So hopefully we will have our very first revenues this month. We made 0 so far, which comparing to my previous businesses that were flourishing 2.5 years in and really big and making a lot of money, this is going very, very slowly.
And how are you feeling about that right now? Are you frustrated that it's moving slow, or are you kind of happy and relieved that we might get our first profits now at least?
A little bit of both. I think at this very moment, I feel very at ease with where we are. But on the journey here, there's definitely been parts where I've been doubting this idea, where I've been frustrating that we're not making progress and challenging a lot of the things. And looking at the team, I can really see why it's been taking so long to get where we are, because we focused so much on getting brilliant people in rather than starting the product. We focused so much on building the team, building around it, feeling committed to the long-term vision, thinking about where do we want to be 50 years from now rather than 5 days from now. So we've taken a lot of decisions that are really, really good for the long term, but are quite shitty in the short term. And whenever I remind myself of that, whenever I'm thinking about, but we're making very long-term decisions, I feel very happy with the progress where we are. And whenever I forget about that, then I feel like, why haven't we gotten anywhere further? Why is this taking so long? This is draining my pockets, and I'm frustrated that I don't have anything to show for it.
Right. So the surface level feels frustrating, but there's a lot of things happening on the inside. You gave a really cool metaphor a couple of days ago where you used an ice cube. Do you remember that one? And how it relates to Great?
Yeah, okay, so imagine that you're sitting in a room. There's 2 people sitting.
Like we are doing right now.
Like we are doing right now. And it's 20 degrees below freezing. And there's a cube of ice in this room. And we start heating up the room in various ways. It goes to 15 degrees below freezing, and nothing happens with the ice cube. 10 degrees, nothing happens with the ice cube. Even though we've done a lot of work, 5 degrees below freezing, still nothing with the ice cube. And then when you finally reach freezing and you go just above, that's when the ice cubes start turning into water. And all the change obviously happened all the way through these minus 20, but the actual change happens when you pass freezing. And that's where I feel that we are with Great at the moment. We've done so many things, but it's just now we're passing that step where things starts to shift completely. And I'm very, very excited of where we are right now and how things will go from there, where we will go from a stiff ice cube to flowing water.
Right. And I think this perspective is valuable for anyone who's running a business because it can be really slow in the start and you don't see any results. But remember that you are slowly melting that ice cube. Focus on the process and the results will come at a certain point.
Yeah, definitely. I think it applies to pretty much anything.
Yeah. Let's go to part 2 where we explore, is this really a good idea? We haven't made any money at all yet. How come we're still prioritizing to invest $100,000 as a charity donation?
So what's important to understand about GREAT is that our entire mission is to give away money. That's what we are and that's what we will do. Making money is a secondary thing. We obviously need to make money to give it away, but we're an organization that gives away money. And that's why everyone has joined GREAT, because they want to be a part of giving away money. So for me, it's such a crucial thing to do at this step because it is what we are doing. And a big reason is to kind of unify the team, get everyone to feel that, okay, we are really giving away money. This is not just some crazy idea Erik had. We're giving away money. And everyone in the team is chipping into this in various ways and helping out. And it feels very, very important to do this even early on to make sure that we're living that identity, that we are this, and we're getting everyone to feel inspired about working on this, to see what we're happening and getting everyone on the same page with everything.
Are you worried as a founder that this is gonna slow down our progress? I guess that $100,000 could be used to market us, build a better product, get more people on.
Yeah, I mean, for sure it will slow us down. Like I said earlier, we have this 50-year plan. And whatever decision we're doing right now that doesn't give us short-term results, doesn't give us short-term results. I mean, this is $100,000 that could have been focused on hiring developers and increase the pace. And instead, we're investing the money in a good cause and unifying the team and things that are long-term good. And the same thing, our entire team now are focusing on making the most out of this donation. We're doing PR work for it. We're getting material for the website about it. We're doing a lot of things that doesn't bring in any money anytime soon. And once again, it's a long-term decision for a short-term goals. It definitely worries me in the sense that we will not make the progress as fast as we could hope. But in the same way, it aligns very well with this long-term vision and getting things to where we want in the long run.
Right. So the whole team is unifying and creating a big PR campaign. We are talking about it here. Everyone is involved to spread the message that we're doing this. And some people might feel unease about that. I know, at least I in the past and people that I know, feel like charity is something you should do only from your heart. It's something, you shouldn't speak about that to anyone. It should be something nice that you do, not something you do to get PR.
Yeah, I don't really like that view of charity. I think that's one of the biggest problems that charity has is that people think that it's something that you want to do in secret because you want to do it for the pure intentions of yourself or whatever. And I believe that if people were allowed to be proud of donating money, if people were more allowed to do it with a specific cause, more people would donate money, more people would see other people donate money, more people will feel like, oh, I want to do what they are doing. They're giving away a lot of money. I want to be a part of that. And making that a bigger part of society in general. Like, if we're keeping it a secret, then society doesn't see it and it doesn't inspire others. And we want to give away a lot of money, but we also want to be an organization that inspires others to give away a lot of money. And that's really hard if we're not talking about it.
Right. Make charity cool and a symbol of status, just like posting a picture of a cool car would be.
Definitely. I mean, if it was as cool to give away money as it was to drive a Ferrari, we would have a very different world.
So we're hoping to change the perspective of giving and charity in general. What else do we hope to get out of this campaign PR-wise? What would be a good result?
Yeah, because an important thing to understand about our business model is that it's very based on how to rank in search engines in Google. that we want people to find us when they're Googling for best casino bonus, for example. And a part of that is getting links towards your site. Like a link from someone else is like a vote on your site in Google's algorithm. So the more links you get to you, the higher you will rank up in Google. So when we're doing a donation like this, our goal is to get newspapers and magazines and blogs and whatever to pick this up and talk about us and links to us, so that also benefits the business. So that's why we're doing all these PR efforts around this, hiring a PR consultant, talking to different companies. And for me, a good result would mainly be the team learning about this process to know what can we do better the next time and unifying. A great result will be us getting a lot of magazines and newspapers and stuff writing about this campaign as something unique and something inspiring to do, because that would also help the business and would actually give us short-term results as well. So we're going for the long-term results, but I obviously wouldn't be disappointed if we got short-term results too.
Right. So we make a donation that makes other online sites write about us, which gives us money that we then can give away, and we create a positive feedback loop.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's important to know that we don't know if this is going to bring these results in. I don't know if this will unify the team or if it's actually going to cause stress for the team because we're doing something that is outside of the actual business. We're not doing what we're kind of supposed to do. And I'm not the only one being stressed about not seeing results. But I believe that this is a part of running a business. You need to test these things, see what happens, evaluate, and it's also the exciting part. I don't know if this is going to work, but I truly hope it will.
It is a lot of fun trying things where you have no idea what you're doing. It's how this podcast got started.
Yeah, definitely.
Right. So let's move on to the third part of today's episode, where we look at the Founders Pledge, an organization that in less than 5 years made donations of $2.4 billion possible. What do you think would happen if you took 1,000 brilliant entrepreneurs that want to make the world better and you put them all in the same room?
I love that question. Well, let's start by looking at what Founders Pledge is doing. So to become a member of the Founders Pledge, which is an entrepreneurial network, the first thing you need to do is to sign an agreement saying that when I do an exit from my company, when I make money from the business in different ways, I'm going to give away X% of this to charity. And X you can decide yourself, and it's common to have 10 or 20% of those profits to go to charity. So everyone who's a part of this network have signed this agreement that said, I'm going to give away money in the future. So you actually don't need to do it right now, but you can do it in the future, which is a lot easier to commit to, especially if you're running a business, and hopefully it will sell for millions in the future. It's going to be a big donation, but you don't need to give away the money at the moment. And this is a legal binding agreement. So if you die or whatever, that money is going to be donated. And to answer your question, what happens when you bring 1,000 brilliant entrepreneurs together? This is what they're doing. You sign this agreement, and then you become a part of this network, which is people who want to make the world a better place, who have already committed to make the world a better place. And they help them to share ideas among each other. They give them research about what charity organizations are the best at what they do, who is the most need of support, where you can make the most impact of your money. And they help entrepreneurs to create a legacy. They help entrepreneurs to easily donate money, because it's quite complicated to know what organization to give money to. And it's not always easy to know how it works with taxes. So they are experts in how does it work with taxes when donating money. It's not always easy to know how to process these payments and do these things. So they streamline everything that an entrepreneur would need to do, because a lot of entrepreneurs want to make the world a better place. I know many of them, but they get stuck on not knowing where to give or how to give. So this is what they're doing. And as you touched upon before, thanks to this, over the last 5 years, they managed to get entrepreneurs to sign agreements to give away a total of $2.4 billion in the future. And I think out of those, $300 or $400 million have already been donated.
Yeah. both donated and also shifted towards the most effective causes right now on the planet.
Very important thing as well. Yeah, so they're not just giving it away, they're giving it away based on the research that Founders Pledge and some of the other top organizations in the world have put together, saying these are the best organizations at what they do. Those are the ones you want to give money. So they both create more donations, but they also create more donations to the right place, which is usually hard.
Right. That's incredible.
Yeah, that's incredible. Yeah, and you had an interview with David Goldberg, the founder.
I had so much fun. We're running a charity podcast on the side of this becominggreat.com podcast. And there we interview charity organizations. And to me, this was the most inspiring and engaging episode I have done so far.
Wow.
David Goldberg, the founder, is a brilliant speaker. And I think he managed to explain a lot of the tricky concepts that you need to know to really understand charity in a simple way that was engaging and inspiring. And we talked about his story, of course, and the collaboration with Great, but we also explored two interesting topics right now. The first one is what is their approach towards COVID-19 and what they do to help and what you can do to help. And then we also talked about a hard question for Great, which is climate change and how to best solve that.
So did you feel that you got a better understanding of how to do it with both COVID and climate change?
I did. And so I don't want to spoil the podcast. I really think you should go and check it out. But the most interesting thing I learned that I was wondering about before is I want to donate money. It's not much, but on the side myself. And I want to support organizations that combat climate change.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering now with this crisis situation, is it urgent and should I direct my money to COVID-19 instead? Or should I stick with climate change? Because so many people probably right now are investing their money in COVID-19. Like the more attention something gets in the media, the more people donate.
Yeah.
So I wanted to know, should I switch my focuses to COVID-19 to help right now in this crisis?
Okay, and I'm not going to ask you if you will, because then people can go and hear the podcast instead.
I think so too. But I'll let you take a guess. You can take a guess.
I think that you're going to stick with climate change.
I guess you won't know unless you go and watch that episode.
One thing I think is important to understand about Founders Pledge, I mean, why are we donating money to them even though they're so good at raising funds for others? So a cool thing that they're doing is that they don't ask entrepreneurs to donate to them. They say, donate to these guys. Those are the best ones. Donate to these guys. And instead, they raise money externally to run their organizations, to do all of these things, to recommend all these things, all the staff, all the research they're doing. And we want to support that research. So when it comes to Corona, for example, they started doing pandemic research already last year and started recommending which organizations are the best in the world at battling pandemics, even before pandemic was the topic of everyone's eyes. So for me, it's so important to support the research they're doing so they can give the recommendations to the people with a lot of money that doing donations.
Yeah, because they're not taking anything from the founders.
They're not taking anything from the founders. Everything is free. The only thing you need to do is to commit to give away to anyone in the future. You're not committing to give to Founders Pledge. You're committing to give away to anything that you believe in. So we want them to keep reaching out to entrepreneurs, to keep inspiring entrepreneurs, building this network. And for them to be able to do this, they obviously need money. They need to pay their staff. They need to pay their offices. They need all of these things. So we're supporting what they're doing and the research they're doing to make all of these things possible in the network. And so they can keep not asking other entrepreneurs for money, basically.
Yeah, it's a brilliant idea for how to run a charity organization. And if you want to know more about Founders Pledge, we give a link in the description below. We'll also give a link to the interview I did with David Goldberg, their founder. And we'll put in a link there to the organization that they believe is the most effective charity organization in the entire world right now, if you want to know that for your own way of thinking about charity.
Nice.
Yeah.
So what can someone do if they want to support this podcast?
Ooh, if you like these kind of dialogues and if you want to support us in any way, the most important thing you can do is to press subscribe in your podcast app. And that really helps us out because we want to get into different podcast top lists. And if you do that or not is based on how many subscribers you have compared to your viewers, which is cool because we're a teeny tiny podcast. But we can still get that ratio and get into top lists. And then we can grow and more people can hear these conversations.
And we're actually starting to get into top lists now. We see
It's
that
so
this
cool.
pays off.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah, this is all thanks to you and that you're subscribing. We're starting to climb in UK, in the US, in Australia, in Sweden. So we're actually seeing things happening, and that's huge.
That's huge. And we hit 1K subscribers on YouTube yesterday.
Yeah!
How cool is that?
Boom! Yeah, so please come back
Yeah.
next week for another conversation about something. Happy to have you here.
Bye.